Shalom, how's everybody doing? My name is Tobiah Ben Israel, and in case you've been following me on Facebook, you know I've been really into Enoch, and so I made this video to share with information how the year goes, and hopefully people can get an understanding of what it is that I post. So what you see displayed here is every single day from day 1 all the way to the end of the year, from equilux to equilux. That's what's displayed here, because I'm a very visual learner and I like to see things instead of using a calendar with 30 or 31 days on it. I can't see exactly what's going on. So this here is a display of an entire year, from day to day, from week to week, and month to month. So we're going to go into the books of Jubilees, Enoch, and of course the King James Version. So I expect hopefully you take notes, and let's start with opening our books to Enoch chapter 72. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to read out of chapter 72, and I'm going to explain every little detail of information that has been said. So we're going to go into 72 verse 8. So I'll give you a chance to get into Enoch, and we're going to get started. So I'm on verse 8. Let's do first verse 7. In this way he rises in the first month in the great portal, which is the fourth. And in that fourth portal from which the sun rises in the first month are 12 window openings, from which proceed a flame when they are open in their season. When the sun rises in the heaven, he comes forth through the fourth portal 30 mornings in succession, and sets accurately in the fourth portal in the west of the heaven. And during this period the day becomes daily longer, and the night nightly shorter, to the 30th morning. On that day the day is longer than the night by a ninth part, and the day amounts exactly to 10 parts, and the night to 8 parts. And the sun rises from that fourth portal and sets in the fourth portal, and returns to the fifth portal of the east 30 mornings, and rises from it and sets in the fifth portal. So, note takers, the year started in the fourth portal of the sun being in that position 30 days, from day 1 to day 30. So let's zoom this up so we can see what's really going on. I'm gonna zoom in. Alright, there we go. Alright, the number 4 represents the fourth portal. Like I said, I'm a very visual person, so I like to see things. So fourth portal stays in there for 30 mornings. So you see the number 1 next to Judah? That represents day 1. So if I scroll all the way up to the top, we're gonna see the 30th day. All the way to the top, representing the fourth portal. All the way from day 1 all the way to the 30th day. It's in there for 30 mornings. That's what according to the scripture. Okay. I'm going to continue. Alright. I'm on verse 12. And when the day becomes longer by 2 parts and amounts to 11 parts, and the night. Now I'm on verse 13. It's getting ready to explain what happens next after the 30 days is over with. When the day becomes longer by 2 parts and amounts to 11 parts, and the night becomes shorter and amounts to 7 parts, and it returns to the east and enters into the 6th portal, and rises and sets in the 6th portal 1:30 mornings on account of its sign. I'm going to go into verse 11 because you need to know it was in the 5th portal before it went to the 6th portal. See, and here we go. And the sun rises from that 4th portal and sets in the 4th and returns to the 5th portal of the east 30 mornings and rises from it and sets in the 5th portal. And then the day becomes longer by 2 parts and amounts to 11 parts. And the night becomes shorter and amounts to 7 parts. So, 5th portal, also 30 mornings. So you should write that down. 4th portal, 30 mornings. 5th portal, 30 mornings. So I'm going to scroll up, scroll over to the number 5. And I'm going to scroll all the way down till I get to the 30th morning. And there you go. 30. 5th portal, 30 mornings. Now, let's get to the 6th portal. So I'm going to go down to verse 13. And it returns to the east and enters into the 6th portal and rises and sets in the 6th portal 1:30 mornings on account of its sign. On that day, the day becomes longer than the night, and the day becomes double the night. And the day becomes 12 parts, and the night is shortened and becomes 6 parts. So, the 6th portal, it stays in there for 31 mornings on account of its sign. So, write that down. On the 31st day in the 6th portal, on account of its sign, the day becomes double the night. The day becomes double the day to 12 parts, and the night becomes 6 parts. But I want you to see this cycle that's going on. On account of its sign on the 31st day. And if you think about it, 30 plus 30 plus 31 is 91 days. So on the 91st day, a sign, he said on account of a sign. He didn't say that for the 4th, on the 5th day. The last day in the 4th portal or the last day in the 5th portal, but he said in the last day in the 6th portal. Remember that. So we're going to scroll up. He said 31 days. Let's check out the 31 days. So that's 6, the number 1, and I'm going to scroll all the way up to the top. And I put that right there, the 31st day, where it says that big 6 in that red circle. I'm going to introduce you to that later. But right now, just picture that as the 31st day for now. Okay? And let's see what happens next. Take good notes. 31st day on account of his sign. Alright, I'm on verse 15. And the sun mounts up to make the day shorter and the night longer. And the sun returns to the east and enters into the 6th portal and rises from it and sets 30 mornings. And when 30 mornings are accomplished, the day decreases by exactly 1 part and becomes 11 parts, in the night 7. And the sun goes forth from that 6th portal in the west and goes to the east and rises in the 5th portal for 30 mornings and sets in the west again in the 5th western portal. So, sixth portal, it returns back into the sixth portal, 30 days. So I'm going to go back to the sixth. I'm going to go scrolling down till I get to the number 30. The number 30. And it says that next to July 12th. I know I'm going to explain it. I'm just doing Enoch right now, the basics. So that's 30 days. Then he says, then after it sets in the western portal, it then enters the fifth portal. Let's continue. Let's see what happens. Okay. Finishing off the sentence. On that day, the day decreases by 2 parts and amounts to 10 parts, and the night to 8 parts. And the sun goes forth from that fifth portal and sets in the fifth portal of the west, and rises in the fourth portal for 1:30 mornings, and accounts of its sign, and sets in the west. And on that day, the day is equalized with the night, and becomes of equal length. And the night amounts to 9 parts, and the day to 9 parts. So, he's now saying, after 30 days in the fifth portal, it then goes into the fourth portal for 31 days. And he says on that day, also on account of a sign, write that down, the day is equalized to the night. So you got equal parts day and equal parts night. And since I'm a very visual learner, I want to show you that day. So if you could see, if you notice, I have on the 30th day of the fourth portal, I have September 10th. And on September 11th, which is on the 7th day of the week, I also have gotten equal parts day and equal parts night. And I'm going to show you. Equal parts day, equal parts night on September 11th. Everything is equalized perfectly, just like you just saw Enoch. Just like he said. So let's continue. And the sun rises from that portal and sets in the west, and returns to the east and rises 30 mornings in the third portal, and sets in the west in the third portal. And on that day, the night becomes longer than the day, and night becomes longer than night. On that day, the night becomes longer than the day, and the night becomes longer than night, and day shorter than day till the 30th morning. And the night amounts exactly to 10 parts, and the day to 8 parts. So he says after the 31st day in the fourth portal, the sun now enters into the third portal for 31 mornings. So let's scroll and see what we got. Third portal, I got it down beneath because we're now talking about below the equator. So I have my number 1 representing the first day, and I have the third, number 30. Let's continue. We're in the third portal. Okay, and the sun rises from that third portal and sets in the third portal in the west, and returns to the east for 30 mornings. Rises in the second portal in the east, and all manner sets in the second portal in the west of the heaven. And on that day, the night amounts to 11 parts, and the day to 7 parts. And the sun rises on that day from the second portal, and sets in the west in the second portal, and returns to the east into the first portal for 1 and 30 mornings. So I just went right through the second portal and the first portal. We're gonna break it down. Second portal for 30 days. So that's day 1 in the second portal. And we're gonna scroll all the way up. That's 30 days. And then after that, it goes into the first portal for 31 days. So that's the number 1. We're gonna scroll all the way down till we get to the number 30. Number 30. Oh wait, 31. Number 31. Where's that 1 is at? Similar in that circle, kind of like the 6th portal was in that circle. There we go, right there. So write this down. The first portal for 31 days, as well as the 6th portal for 31 days, and the 4th portal for 31 days. It's like every 91 days, the sun is staying in that portal for 31 days. So there's a pattern going on here. A perfect pattern. So let's see if we can figure out this pattern. We're going to go into verse I lost my spot. Okay, we're going to go into verse 26 from the first portal, from that 31st day. And the sun sets in the first portal in the west of the heaven, and on that day the night becomes longer and amounts to double the day, and the night amounts exactly to 12 parts, and the day to 6. And the sun has transversed the divisions of his orbit, and turns again on those divisions of his orbit, and enters that portal 30 mornings, and sets in also in the west, opposite to it. So it returns back into the first portal for 30 mornings. So day 1, first portal. I'm going to scroll all the way up, and there's that 30 days in that portal. And on that night of the 30th day, in the first portal after return, the night decreased in length by a 9th part, and the night has become 11 parts, and the day 7 parts. And the sun has returned and entered into the second portal in the east, and returns on those his division of its orbit for 30 mornings, rising and setting. And on that day the night decreases in length, and the night amounts to 10 parts, and the day to 8. And on that day the sun rises from that portal and sets in the west, and returns to the east, and rises in the third portal for 1 and 30 mornings, and sets in the west of the heaven. So I did it again. I went into the second portal for 30 mornings, and I just read up into the third portal for 31 mornings. On that day the night decreases in amount to 9 parts, and the day to 9 parts, and the night is equal to the day, and a year is exactly as to its days, 364 days. So now, second portal, 30 mornings. Third portal, 31 mornings. And on that day, the day is equal to its night. So let's see. And I do have that. So you see March 11th is the 30th day. March 12th And March 13th is the 31st day. And you're saying, well, that's 2 days. Yes, it's 2 days. But Enoch said the day ends with equal parts day and equal parts night. So, for March 13th and 12th, since it was 2 days of the equinox, then I have to go ahead and use those 2 days and make the next day after the equinox the first day of the year. So here's mine. March 13th and 12 and 12 at the bottom. 12 hours day, 12 hours night. 7 a.m., 7 p.m. Sunrise, sunset, March 13th. Just like it said. And then the next day after that, there is no equinox. It's just, well, actually, equilux. Correction. Equilux. March 14th is no equilux. And it's also 1 week before the equinox. But let's get into this equinox. These signs. So we're going to go into the King James Version. We're going to get Genesis chapter 1 verse 14. These signs are really important. Solstices and signs and equinoxes, very important. Yeah, Genesis 1 and 14. I'll read. And God made 2 great lights, the greater light to rule the day and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also, and God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. So, keyword, signs. Seasons and days and years. That's the key word, signs. Let's get more into signs though. That's the one I'm really concerned about. We're going to go into Ezekiel chapter 20 and verse 12. Signs. Alright, let's get into it. Verse 12. Moreover, I gave them my Sabbaths to be a sign between me and them, that they might know that I am the Lord that sanctified them. Let's get more into signs. Let's get Jubilees. Open up Jubilees. We're going to get into chapter 2 and 21. If you don't have it, just listen real good. Yep, just listen real good. I'm on chapter 2, verse 21. And it reads, and thus he created therein a sign in accordance with which they should keep Sabbath with us on the 7th day, to eat and drink and to bless him who hath created all things, as he hath blessed and sanctified unto himself a peculiar people above all peoples, and that they should keep Sabbath together with us. Signs. That's what I want to get into. Signs. I figured the signs would be the solstices, the equinoxes, and will be those Sabbaths. And we'll get into more signs on Enoch chapter 75. Chapter 75. Alright. And we'll start at verse 1. And the leaders of the heads of the thousands who are placed over the whole creation and over all the stars have also to do with the 4 intercalary days being inseparable from their office. According to the reckoning of the year, these render service on the 4 days which are not reckoned in the reckoning of the year. And owing to them men go wrong therein, for those luminaries truly render service on the world station. One in the first portal, one in the third portal, one in the fourth portal, and one in the sixth portal. And the exactness of the year is accomplished through its separate 364 stations. For the signs and the times, in the years, in the days, the angel Uriel showed to me, whom the Lord of glory hath set forever over the luminaries of the heaven, in the heaven and in the world, that they should rule on the face of the heaven, be seen on the earth, and be leaders for the day and night, the sun, moon, and stars, and all ministering creatures which make their revolution, and all the chariots of the heaven. In like manner, 12 doors Uriel showed me, opening in the circumference of the sun's chariot in the heaven, through which the rays of the sun break forth, and from them is warmth diffused over the earth when they are open in their appointed seasons. So he's talking about something that comes before the equinox that makes this change of season. So we're going to get more into it. I want you to open up to Enoch chapter 82. One moment. Alright. Chapter 82. He repeats himself but gets more into detail on what just happened. We're not gonna read verse 1. We're gonna get right into the meat. We're gonna get into Enoch 82 verse 4. Blessed are all the righteous, blessed are all those who walk in the way of righteousness, and sin not as the sinners in the reckoning of all their days, in which the sun traverses the heaven, entering into the departing from the portals for 30 days, with the heads of thousands of the order of the stars, together with the 4 which are intercalated, which divide the 4 portions of the year, which lead them and enter with them 4 days. Owing to them, men should be at fault and not reckon them in the whole reckoning of the year. Yet men should be at fault and not recognize them accurately. They belong to the reckoning of the year and are truly recorded forever. One in the first portal, one in the third, one in the fourth, and one in the sixth. And the year is completed in 364 days. Remember when I had y'all take notes? Enoch 72. And every 91 days, Enoch was saying on the 31st day on account of his sign. That's basically what he's just saying. He's just comparing it with another vision. That's really what it is. He's going to get more into detail what these are. And the account thereof is accurate, and the recorded reckoning thereof exact. For the luminaries, months, and festivals, and years, and days has Uriel showed and revealed to me, to whom the Lord of the whole creation of the world hath subjected the host of heaven. Just don't forget those 31 days, because he's getting right into it. And he has power over night and day, in the heaven to cause the light to give light to men, sun, moon, and stars, and all the power of the heaven which revolve in their circular chariots, and stars and all powers of the heaven which revolve in their circular chariots. And these are the orders of the stars which set in their places, and in their seasons, and festivals, and months. And these are the names of those who lead them. Key word, lead them. Who watch that they enter at their times, in their orders, in their seasons, in their months, and their periods of dominion, and their positions. Their four leaders, here we go. Their four leaders who divide the 4 parts of the year enter first. We just went over that on Enoch 72. Let's go back to 72. Hold that. We're going to go back to 72. Alright, let's get 72. Verse 12. No, verse 13. And then the day becomes longer by 2 parts and amounts to 11 parts, and the night becomes shorter and becomes to 7 parts, and it returns to the east and enters into the 6th portal, and rises and sets in the 6th portal 1:30 mornings on account of its sign. That's what we just read here in 75. Just that. Therefore, leaders who divide the 4 parts of the year enter first, and after them the 12 leaders of the order who divide the months, and for the 360 days there are heads over thousands who divide the days, and for the 4 intercalary days, those days are those 31 days that I told y'all to write about. There are the leaders which sunder the 4 parts of the year. And these heads over thousands are intercalated between leader and leader, each behind a station, but their leaders make the division. And these are the names of the leaders who divide the 4 parts of the year which are ordained. Now, I'm not going to go into these actual names, so we're going to do a math problem. Get your calculator or tablet. We're going to do a math problem. 91 days, right? Every 91 days, that 91st day comes 4 times a year. So, take the 91 and divide it by divided by 7, which represents weeks, and you get 13 weeks, right? 13 weeks. So every 13 weeks on that 7th day is a divider in a year. So take that 13 and add 13, and what do you get? 26. Write it down. First 13, then write down 26. Add 13 more. What do you get? 39. Write it down. You're going to have 13, you're going to have 26, and you're going to have 39. Add another 13. See what you get. 52. So you're going to get 13, 26, 39, and 52. So those are those 91 days. If you follow me on Facebook, I often put these days on my page all the time. 13, 26, 39, and 52. The 13th week is when the sun is in the 6th portal for 31 days. The 26th week is when the sun is in the 3rd portal for autumn for 31 days. Equal parts day, equal parts night. The 39th week is when the sun is in the first portal for 31 days, where the day is 6 parts day and the night is 12 parts night. And on the 52nd week, the sun is in the the third portal for 31 days. So the day is equalized to the night. And I screwed up. Let me start over. On the 13th week, the sun is in the sixth portal for 31 days. On the 26th week, this is where I screwed up at. I said the third portal. I meant to say the fourth portal. The fourth portal for 31 days, and on that day it's equal to the day. The day is equal to the night. 9 parts day, 9 parts night. 31st day. That's where I screwed up at. That's the 31st day on this, and on the 39th week, the sun is in the first portal for 31 days. And on the 52nd week, the sun is in the third portal. Third portal. I always want to do that opposite. Third portal for 31 days. And the day is equal to the night in equinox. That's what we're basically reading in chapter 75. Divided perfectly. And those are your 4 change of seasons. Not the equinoxes, because the equinoxes are 186 days apart. But the equinoxes are 182 days apart. I'm going to explain why it's like that in my next video, because that's a whole different topic right now. So it can have been the equinoxes because they're not a perfectly 182 days apart. 91 is 82. You could get a calculator and you could see. So that's not what he was talking. He couldn't have been talking about that. Because if that's the case, the sun would be in one of these portals for way more than 31 days in order to make it to the equinox to be equal parts day, equal parts night. Because they're not perfectly aligned that way. I checked it out. March 20th and September 22nd, that's not 182 days. That's 186 days. That's why I like this chart, because I got every single day from the first to the last, no matter who starts what or who believes what's the first day of the year. It's all in there. That's how come I'm able to know what's really going on the entire year. Every single day and every single year is all lined up in here perfectly. And the reason why these equinoxes are 186 days apart, let's get into, we already read it, Genesis 1 and 14. The luminaries were created on the 4th day of the week. So if I'm getting change of seasons every 91 days, if I get a change of season every 91 days, and 3 of these change of season draw a sign on the first Sabbath after that change of season, for example, the first Sabbath after that 52nd week, which I call Chodesh 52, representing 52 week, is an equinox, March 20th. And what I call Chodesh 13, representing the 13th week, the 31st day, the change of season. A week before that, the longest day of the year is the solstice, right there, June 19th. So from June 13th to June 19th is 7 days, and I get the same the solstice of the longest day of the year. And yes, I know they say that June 20th is the solstice, but here's the catch. They're both the same length. Neither one of them is shorter than the other one. No change at all. That's why I have June 19th. And then we go scrolling down to September. From September the 11th, and I'll show you. That was that equinox. And I mean, there's so many ways you could draw this. You don't even have to do it this way if you don't want to. There's so many ways. So September 11th, equal parts day, equal parts night. So the next day over would be the first day of the week. And you have a Sabbath, which is September 18th, with no sign. And why is that? Because they're not 182 days apart. The equinox comes 4 days later, because the sun was created on the 4th day of the week. So that means the 19th, no sign. The 20th, no sign. The 21st, no sign. But the 22nd, the equinox sign appears, just like when you're reading Genesis 1 all the way to Genesis 1 and 14. It's just like that. That's why there's 186 days apart. I figured that out the moment I read Genesis. Okay. Pretty much I covered that, the basics of Enoch. So let me get into that. So, summary. 4th portal, 30 days. 5th portal, 30 days. 6th portal, 31 days. On that 31st day, it's the change of season. We just went over that. Then it enters back into the 6th portal, 30 days. Back into the 5th portal, 30 days. Back into the 4th portal, 31 days. And on that 31st day, change of season. Equal parts day and equal parts night. So down, the sun goes into the 3rd portal, 30 days. Then it goes into the 2nd portal, 30 days. But into the 1st portal, 31 days. And on that 31st day, change of season. And then it returns and goes back into the 1st portal, 30 days. Then it goes into the 2nd portal, 30 days. And then it goes into the 3rd portal, 31 days. And on that 31st day, change of season. Write that down. Write all that down. 30, 30, 31. Write it all down. You write that down. 30, 30, 31. 30, 30, 31. 30, 30, 31. And 30, 30, 31. Write it all down. Alright. Now, let's get into another thing that I like to do. Let's see. Oh, here we go. I love I mean, there's so many ways you can make a Enoch calendar. It's ridiculous, and yes, it's just so many ways to do this. I also like to do it on Sabbaths. It's the same setup. We're gonna start on the equinox. So here we go. So the sun starts in the first week. And where that number 1 is, that's the first week. That represents the first week. So it stays in there for 30 days in the 4th portal. So it goes all the way up there, and it makes 13 complete weeks. And that 31st day, where you see that summer, represents what I just read in Enoch 75. Let's go back into it. We can go back into Enoch 75. Alright, there are 4 leaders who divide the 4 parts of the year into first. Remember the number 4 leaders. There are 4 leaders. Yep, I read that alright. And after them, the 12 leaders of the orders who divide the months. And for the 360 days, because there is a difference between when he said 360 days, because some people say it's not a 31st day in a month. But see, the thing is, it's not talking about months in chapter 72. It's telling you how many days the sun is in the 31st portal. But now he's talking about 360 days representing each month. Just to highlight that. Yeah, for the 360 days, there are heads over thousands who divide the days. And for the 4 interclarity days, there are the leaders which sunder the 4 parts of the year. And these heads over thousands are intercalated between leader and leader, each behind a station, but their leaders make the division. Their leaders make the division. An equinox, 186 days apart from each other, is not a perfect division. And these are the names of the leaders who divide the 4 parts of the year, which are ordained. I'm going to call them by the week they fall in. So I'm saying week 13, week 26, week 39, and week 52. Also, I just call them Chadash, however you say. Chadash 13, Chadash 26, Chadash 39, and Chadash 52. I named them that because it's easier for me to understand them, because they're on the 13th day of the week and on the 7th day of the week. And the names of those who lead them, which represents the months. Month 1, month 2, and month 3. And these 3 follow the leaders of the orders. And there is one that follows the 3 leaders of the orders, which follow those leaders of stations that divide the 4 parts of the year. In the beginning of the year, the Chadash 13 rises first and rules, who is named Tamani and son, and all the days of his dominion while he bears rule are 91 days. See that? 91 days. And these are the signs of the days which are to be seen on earth in the days of his dominion. Sweat and heat, claims, and all the trees bear fruit, and leaves are produced on all the trees, in the harvest of wheat and the rose flowers, and all the flowers which come forth in the field. But the trees of the winter season become withered. And these are the names of the leaders which are under them. The first month, the second month, and another who is added added a head of 1,000 called the third month. And the days of the dominion of this leader are at an end. And the next day, and the next leader after him